In the grim darkness of the far future, vast fleets traverse the void between stars, carrying the Emperor's wrath to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. These behemoths of steel and faith comprise the Imperial Navy, humanity's first line of defense against the myriad threats lurking in the cosmic depths. Battleships, kilometers long, bristle with weapon batteries capable of reducing entire continents to ash. Their massive hulls bear the scars of countless engagements, each a testament to the relentless nature of warfare in the 41st millennium. Sleek cruisers dart between enemy formations, their lances piercing void shields and armor alike. Agile and deadly, these vessels embody the perfect balance of firepower and maneuverability. Countless fighters swarm like angry insects, engaging in deadly dances amidst the chaos of void warfare. Pilots, their minds linked to their craft through neural interfaces, push the limits of human reflexes in desperate battles for survival. Torpedoes streak across the void, their fusion warheads promising oblivion to those unfortunate enough to lie in their path. At the helm of each vessel stands a seasoned naval officer, their mind melded with the ship's machine spirit through ancient technologies beyond the comprehension of most. These captains carry the weight of 10,000 years of naval tradition, their decisions determining the fate of billions across the Imperium of man. Every order they give echoes with the authority of the God Emperor himself, for in the vastness of space, they are his will made manifest. The Imperial Navy's might extends far beyond mere firepower. Its ships serve as vital arteries of the Imperium, ferrying troops, supplies, and pilgrims across the treacherous currents of the warp. Without the Navy's protection, entire sectors would wither and die, cut off from the Emperor's light. Massive cargo haulers and troop ships form the backbone of Imperial logistics, their holds filled with the lifeblood of a million worlds. From the glittering spires of Holy Terra to the nightmarish realms of the Eye of Terror, the Imperial Navy stands ever vigilant. Its history is etched in the scars of a million battles, its future uncertain in a galaxy teetering on the brink of annihilation. Yet still, they fight on. The sheer scale of the Navy defies comprehension. Orbital shipyards stretch for thousands of kilometers, their scaffolding embracing vessels that dwarf cities. Entire generations of workers live and die in the construction of a single capital ship, never setting foot on a planet's surface. These monumental undertakings are a testament to humanity's determination to survive in a hostile universe. Naval traditions, some dating back to Terra's long-forgotten oceans, permeate every aspect of life aboard an Imperial vessel. From the ritualistic lighting of plasma drives to the solemn benedictions offered before battle, these customs provide an anchor of familiarity in the face of cosmic horror. Officers proudly wear uniforms that have changed little in millennia, their medals and insignia telling tales of valor across the stars. The responsibilities of the Imperial Navy extend beyond combat. They chart the ever-shifting lanes of the warp, brave the perils of uncharted space, and maintain the vast network of astropathic relays that form the Imperium's nervous system. Without their ceaseless efforts, humanity's realm would fragment into isolated pockets, easy prey for the Xenos and heretics that lurk in the darkness between worlds. Advanced technologies, many barely understood by their users, form the backbone of naval operations. Geller fields hold the maddening forces of the warp at bay during faster-than-light travel. Nova cannons unleash projectiles at near light speed, devastating entire fleets with a single shot. Teleportariums allow for the deployment of boarding parties directly into the heart of enemy vessels, turning space battles into close-quarters bloodbaths. The enemies arrayed against the Imperial Navy are as diverse as they are deadly. Eldar corsairs strike from hidden webway portals, their ships dancing through the void with impossible grace. Orc cruisers, cobbled together from scavenged hulks, swarm forward in great green tides. The fell ships of chaos, twisted by the powers of the warp, bring madness and corruption in their wake. Against these and countless other foes, the Navy stands resolute, humanity's shield among the stars. Amidst the sprawling tapestry of the Imperium's military might, the Imperial Navy occupies a position of unparalleled significance. Its existence stretches back to the very dawn of the Imperium itself, born from the ashes of the devastating Horus heresy. In the wake of that cataclysmic conflict, the Emperor's vision of a united humanity among the stars lay in ruins, shattered by betrayal and civil war. Recognizing the need for a centralized force to safeguard mankind's dominion over the galaxy, the High Lords of Terra initiated sweeping reforms. These changes reshaped the very structure of imperial power, separating the might of the Void from the legions that fought upon countless worlds. Thus, the Imperial Navy emerged as a distinct entity, charged with the monumental task of maintaining humanity's lifelines across the vast expanse of space. Within the complex hierarchy of the Imperium, the Navy serves as both sword and shield. Its vessels form the first line of defense against Xenos incursions, heretical uprisings, and the ever-present threat of chaos. Simultaneously, the Navy projects the Emperor's will to the farthest reaches of known space, supporting imperial conquests and bringing wayward worlds back into the fold. Countless threats necessitate the Navy's eternal vigilance. Tyrannid hive fleets, vast beyond comprehension, devour entire sectors in their relentless advance. Necron tomb worlds awaken after millennia of slumber, their eldritch technologies outstripping even the most advanced imperial designs. The fragile peace with the Tau Empire constantly teeters on the brink of all-out war, while Eldar raiders strike from hidden webway portals with preternatural precision. Despite its crucial role, the Navy faces perpetual challenges. Ancient vessels, irreplaceable relics of a bygone technological age, require constant maintenance and prayer to appease their machine spirits. The loss of a single capital ship can cripple a sector's defenses for centuries. Recruitment and training of skilled personnel remains an ongoing struggle, with many worlds viewing service in the Void as a death sentence. Politically, the Navy navigates treacherous waters. Its influence rivals that of the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Ecclesiarchy, leading to constant power struggles within the imperial hierarchy. Planetary governors both fear and covet the Navy's firepower, knowing that a single battleship can lay waste to an entire world or preserve it from annihilation. This delicate balance of power requires expert diplomacy from naval officers, lest their actions spark civil unrest or even outright rebellion. Technologically, the Navy stands as a testament to humanity's lost greatness. Many of its most powerful weapons and defenses stem from the dark age of technology, their inner workings a mystery even to the most learned tech priests. The art of constructing the mighty Gloriana-class battleships has long been lost, making each remaining vessel an irreplaceable treasure. This technological stagnation forces the Navy to rely on tactics and strategies refined over millennia of warfare. Our logistics present a constant nightmare for Naval High Command. The sheer scale of the Imperium necessitates a vast network of supply lines, refueling stations, and repair docks. Entire forge worlds dedicate their entire output to producing munitions and replacement parts for the fleet. The loss of a single key way station can cripple naval operations across multiple sectors, leaving swaths of the Imperium vulnerable to enemy action. Warp travel, the lifeblood of interstellar commerce and warfare, falls squarely within the Navy's purview. Navigators, mutant psychers capable of guiding ships through the immaterium, are as vital to naval operations as any admiral or captain. The dangers of warp travel, from time dilation and spatial distortions to demonic incursions, add an element of cosmic horror to every voyage. Entire fleets have been known to disappear without trace, lost to the capricious tides of the Empyrean. Cultural diversity within the Navy reflects the vast expanse of the Imperium itself. Void-born crews, raised entirely shipboard, serve alongside planet-side recruits who have never known gravity's embrace. Traditions and superstitions vary wildly from sector to sector, ship to ship. What remains constant is an unwavering faith in the Emperor and a deep-seated belief in humanity's manifest destiny among the stars. The psychological toll of naval service cannot be overstated. Decades-long campaigns, the mind-bending horrors of warp travel, and the constant threat of instant annihilation forge a unique mentality among naval personnel. Fatalism mingles with fierce pride, creating a culture that values stoicism and duty above all else. For many, their ship becomes more than a home. It is a sacred space, a fragment of the Emperor's will made manifest in cold steel and roaring engines. Strategic flexibility defines naval doctrine. From system-wide engagements involving hundreds of capital ships to precision strikes by lone wolf raiders, the Navy must be prepared for any eventuality. Continuous adaptation is necessary to counter evolving threats, whether they be new tyrannid bioships or heretical innovations spawned in the hellish forges of the Eye of Terror. This constant state of readiness exacts a heavy toll on both personnel and material, stretching resources to their breaking point. In the grand narrative of the Imperium, the Navy's role cannot be overstated. It is the thread that binds humanity's vast domain together, the armor that shields countless worlds from extinction. Without its ceaseless vigilance, the Imperium would swiftly crumble, isolating humanity into pockets ripe for conquest by the myriad horrors that lurk between the stars. In every engagement, every patrol, every warp jump, the Navy carries the weight of mankind's future upon its mighty shoulders. Long before the Imperium of Man spanned the galaxy, humanity's first steps into the void were tentative and fraught with peril. Ancient Terran nations vied for dominance among the stars, their crude vessels a far cry from the mighty ships that would one day carry the Emperor's light to distant worlds. These early forays laid the groundwork for what would become the Imperial Navy, though none could have foreseen the scale of the conflicts to come. Humanity's golden age of technology saw exponential advancements in shipbuilding and propulsion. Warp drives, once the stuff of wild speculation, became commonplace. Vessels of staggering size and complexity plied the stars, their crews marveling at the wonders of newly discovered worlds. This era of prosperity and exploration seemed limitless, yet it was merely the calm before an unimaginable storm. Catastrophe struck with the onset of the Age of Strife. Warp storms of unprecedented intensity tore across the galaxy, sundering humanity's interstellar empire. Countless worlds found themselves isolated, cut off from aid and resources. Many regressed technologically, while others fell prey to hostile xenospecies or the corrupting influence of chaos. Naval traditions, once unified, splintered into myriad local variations as each system fought for survival. From this darkness emerged the Emperor of Mankind, his vision of a reunited humanity burning bright. The Great Crusade, launched to reclaim the lost colonies of man, saw the birth of the Imperial Army. This combined force of ground troops and void-borne vessels swept across the stars, bringing world after world back into the Imperial fold. Primarchs, the Emperor's genetically engineered sons, led vast expeditionary fleets, each a legend in its own right. Triumph turned to tragedy with the outbreak of the Horus Heresy. The War Master Horus, once the Emperor's most trusted son, turned against his father in a cataclysmic civil war. Naval engagements of unprecedented scale erupted throughout the galaxy as brother fought brother. Entire fleets were lost to the warp or destroyed in titanic battles that left whole systems in ruins. The scars of this conflict would shape Imperial naval doctrine for millennia to come. In the aftermath of the heresy, sweeping reforms reshaped the Imperial military. The Imperial Army was split into two distinct organizations, the Astra Militarum for ground forces and the Imperial Navy for void warfare. This separation aimed to prevent any single commander from wielding too much power, a safeguard against future rebellion. Thus, the modern Imperial Navy was born, its structure and traditions forged in the crucible of civil war. Early challenges faced by the fledgling Navy were immense. Entire sectors lay in ruins, their shipyards destroyed or corrupted beyond salvation. Experienced officers and crew were in short supply, many having perished in the heresy or turned traitor. Remaining loyalist vessels, often battle-damaged and undercrewed, struggled to maintain order in a galaxy teetering on the brink of anarchy. Gradual reconstruction saw the Navy slowly regain its strength. Forge worlds, guided by the Adeptus Mechanicus, labored ceaselessly to replenish lost ships. New patterns of vessels emerged, designed to counter the threats revealed during the heresy. Training academies were established on countless worlds, each competing to produce the finest officers and ratings for the fleet. Technological regression posed a significant hurdle. Many of the most advanced ship designs and weapon systems from the Great Crusade era were lost or became increasingly difficult to replicate. The Adeptus Mechanicus, guardians of humanity's technological knowledge, grew ever more secretive and dogmatic. This decline forced the Navy to rely increasingly on brute force and weight of numbers rather than technological superiority. Expansion and consolidation marked the early millennia of the Navy's existence. Countless campaigns were waged to bring lost human worlds back into Imperial compliance. Xenos empires, sensing weakness in the aftermath of the heresy, launched their own invasions, testing the mettle of the restructured fleet. These conflicts honed the Navy's tactics and strategies, forging a fighting force capable of facing any threat. Cultural shifts within the Navy reflected broader changes in Imperial society. The rise of the ecclesiarchy saw increased emphasis on faith and devotion to the emperor. Chaplains became fixtures aboard naval vessels, tending to the spiritual needs of the crew and ensuring their loyalty. Rituals and prayers became intertwined with daily operations, blurring the line between military discipline and religious fervor. Specialized branches of the Navy evolved to meet specific needs. The Battlefleet Solar, tasked with defending the cradle of humanity, became the most prestigious posting in the fleet. The Battlefleet Obscurus, eternally vigilant against incursions from the Eye of Terror, developed tactics for combating the fell ships of chaos. Each segmentum fleet developed its own character, influenced by local threats and resources. Notable engagements shaped the Navy's development. The Gothic War saw Imperial forces pitted against the dreaded Blackstone fortresses, pushing ship design and tactics to their limits. The Sabbat Worlds Crusade demonstrated the Navy's crucial role in large-scale compliance operations. Each conflict added new chapters to the Navy's storied history, its victories and defeats alike studied by aspiring officers. Internal politics within the Navy grew increasingly complex. Ancient noble houses vied for control of key commands and lucrative trade routes. Rival schools of tactical thought debated endlessly over optimal fleet compositions and engagement protocols. These internal divisions, while sometimes detrimental to overall efficiency, also drove innovation and adaptability within the organization. The relationship between the Navy and other imperial institutions evolved over time. Uneasy alliances with the Adeptus Mechanicus ensured a steady supply of new vessels and advanced weaponry. Cooperation with the Inquisition led to the development of specialized ships for combating demonic incursions and other esoteric threats. The Adeptus Astartes, while largely independent, often called upon Navy support for large-scale operations. Traditions and superstitions took root among naval personnel, passed down through generations of voidfarers. The ritual blessing of Geller fields before warp jumps, the solemn observance of ship's midnight, and countless other practices became as much a part of naval life as drill and discipline. These customs provided comfort and continuity in the face of the universe's horrors, binding crews together in shared beliefs. As millennia passed, the Navy's role in maintaining the Imperium's stability became ever more critical. With threats multiplying on all fronts, from awakening Necron dynasties to Tyranid hive fleets, the fleet found itself stretched to breaking point. Yet still it endured, adapting to each new challenge with grim determination. In every engagement, every patrol, the Navy continued to write new chapters in its long and storied history. Throughout its long and turbulent history, the Imperial Navy has been at the forefront of countless pivotal moments that have shaped the fate of humanity. These key events not only showcase the Navy's might, but also highlight its critical role in maintaining the Imperium's dominion over the stars. M31. The Siege of Terra marked the culmination of the Horus Heresy, with loyalist and traitor fleets clashing in the skies above humanity's birth world. Countless vessels were lost in this apocalyptic battle, their destruction serving as a grim harbinger of the Navy's future challenges. The siege's aftermath led to the reorganization of Imperial military forces, giving birth to the modern Navy structure, M32. Forging of the Nova Terra sector saw one of the Navy's first major campaigns following its restructuring. A vast armada, comprising ships from multiple segmentae, undertook a decade-long crusade to reclaim a cluster of worlds lost during the heresy. This operation set the template for future compliance campaigns, demonstrating the Navy's ability to project power across vast distances. M33. The War of the Beast erupted as orc wars of unprecedented scale threatened to overwhelm the Imperium. Naval forces found themselves on the defensive, struggling to contain the greenskin menace. The conflict pushed ship design and tactics to new extremes, resulting in innovations like improved torpedo systems and enhanced void shields. M34. Moiri Schism tore through the Adeptus Mechanicus, with repercussions felt keenly by the Navy. As Forge worlds devoted to shipbuilding fell into civil war, the flow of new vessels and replacement parts slowed to a trickle. This crisis forced the Navy to adapt, developing new maintenance protocols and salvage operations to keep its fleets operational. M35. The Nova Terra Interregnum saw a portion of the Imperium secede, taking with it a significant chunk of the Segmentum Pacificus fleet. Naval engagements during this period were often fratricidal affairs, with loyalist and secessionist captains employing identical tactics and technologies against one another. The conflict's resolution reaffirmed the Navy's role as a unifying force within the Imperium. M36. Age of Apostasy plunged the Imperium into turmoil, with the Navy finding itself caught between warring factions of the Ecclesiarchy and the Administratum. Some fleet commanders chose sides, while others attempted to remain neutral, leading to a complex web of alliances and betrayals. The period's end saw a renewed emphasis on political indoctrination within naval ranks. M37. A Clusiad war pitted the Navy against the forces of a rogue tech priest who sought to purify the Imperium by unleashing an army of and men of iron. This conflict forced naval strategists to confront the nightmare scenario of facing an enemy that could match or exceed their own technological capabilities. Tactics developed during this war still form the core of anti-AI protocols. M38. The Gothic War erupted as Abaddon the Despoiler launched his 12th Black Crusade into the Gothic sector. Imperial Navy forces found themselves outmatched by the Planet Killer and the dreaded Blackstone fortresses. Despite heavy losses, the Navy's tenacity ultimately prevailed, with lessons learned from this conflict shaping fleet tactics for centuries to come. M39. Angevin Crusade saw the Navy play a crucial role in the conquest and compliance of the Calixis sector. This campaign demonstrated the fleet's ability to support long-term military operations across vast stretches of space, coordinating with ground forces to bring an entire sector into the Imperial fold. The logistical challenges overcome during this crusade are still studied in naval academies. M40. Macarian Crusade, led by the legendary Lord Solar Macarius, pushed the boundaries of Imperial space to unprecedented limits. The Navy's role in this grand endeavor cannot be overstated, with fleets venturing into uncharted space and facing unknown Xenos threats. The Crusade's eventual collapse highlighted the dangers of overextension and the importance of sustainable naval operations. M41. Badab War saw elements of the Navy pitted against renegade Adeptus Astartes chapters. This conflict posed unique challenges, as naval commanders had to adapt their tactics to counter the superior boarding actions of the Space Marines. The war's conclusion reaffirmed the Navy's authority over void warfare, even in the face of transhuman opposition. M41. Second War for Armageddon required the Navy to coordinate closely with planetary defense forces and the Adeptus Astartes to repel a massive Orc invasion. The conflict showcased the fleet's ability to provide crucial orbital support and maintain supply lines in the face of overwhelming odds. Innovations in drop pod deployment and close air support emerged from this grueling campaign. M41, Tyrannic Wars introduced an entirely new type of threat to the Navy. The hive fleets of the Tyranids, with their organic vessels and unprecedented numbers, forced a complete overhaul of naval tactics. New weapon systems, such as enhanced Nova cannons and Vortex torpedoes, were developed specifically to counter the Xenos menace. M41. Third War for Armageddon saw the return of the Orc threat, this time led by the infamous war boss Ghazghkull Thraka. Naval forces played a critical role in breaking the orbital blockade and preventing the planet's complete isolation. The protracted nature of this conflict highlighted the importance of sustainable void warfare and the challenges of maintaining extended campaigns. M41. 13th Black Crusade brought unprecedented chaos to the Cadian Gate, culminating in the destruction of Cadia itself. The Navy's failure to prevent this catastrophe led to soul-searching and tactical reassessments at the highest levels of command. The subsequent formation of the Great Rift posed new challenges for naval operations across the Imperium. M42. Indomitus Crusade, led by the resurrected Primarch Roboute Guilliman, saw the Navy mobilize on a scale not witnessed since the Great Crusade. Fleets from across the Imperium converged to push back the tides of chaos and reconquer lost territories. This ongoing campaign has pushed ship production and crew recruitment to their limits, testing the Navy's resilience in ways not seen for millennia. M42. Plague wars in the realm of Ultramar forced the Navy to confront the horrifying reality of Nurgle's rot fleets. Specialized decontamination protocols and enhanced bio-warfare defenses were developed in response to this putrid threat. The conflict underscored the importance of adaptability in the face of ever-evolving chaotic corruption. M42, War of Beasts on Vigilis, highlighted the Navy's crucial role in maintaining supply lines to strategically vital worlds. The prolonged siege of this linchpin planet demonstrated the fleet's ability to sustain extended operations in hostile space, fending off threats ranging from Chaos Raiders to Genestealer cult insurrections. Each of these key events has left an indelible mark on the Imperial Navy, shaping its doctrine, technology, and culture. From crushing defeats to stunning victories, every engagement has contributed to the fleet's evolution. As new threats emerge and old foes return, the Navy continues to adapt, its vast armadas standing as humanity's bulwark against the darkness that seeks to engulf the Imperium of man. Delving into the intricacies of the Imperial Navy reveals a complex organization shaped by millennia of conflict and adaptation. At its core, the Navy embodies the Imperium's dual nature, a bastion of humanity's greatest achievements and a reflection of its deepest flaws. Technologically, Imperial vessels represent a curious blend of advancement and regression. Plasma drives capable of propelling ships to near light speed coexist with manual loading systems for macro cannons. This dichotomy stems from the loss of knowledge during the Age of Strife and the subsequent dogmatization of technology by the Adeptus Mechanicus. Consequently, many ship systems are operated through rote rituals rather than true understanding, leading to a culture of superstition and reverence for machine spirits. Organizationally, the Navy's structure reflects the Imperium's feudal nature. Fleet commands often pass down through noble houses, creating dynasties of void-born officers. This system ensures a continuity of experience, but can also breed complacency and nepotism. Commoners may rise through the ranks based on merit, yet such ascension often requires extraordinary circumstances or patronage from high-ranking officials. Tactical doctrine within the Navy has evolved significantly over the millennia. Early reliance on massed broadsides has given way to more nuanced approaches, incorporating strike craft, torpedoes, and sophisticated sensor systems. The development of Nova cannons and lance weapons has altered the dynamics of void warfare, allowing for precision strikes at extreme ranges. However, the vast distances involved in naval engagements mean that many battles are decided before the opposing fleets even enter visual range of each other. Crew dynamics aboard Imperial vessels present a microcosm of Imperial society. Strict hierarchies separate officers from ratings, with further divisions based on specific roles and responsibilities. The sheer size of many capital ships means that vast portions of the crew may never see the vessel's outer hull, let alone the void of space. Entire generations can live and die within the confines of a single ship, creating unique subcultures and dialects. Psycho-conditioning plays a crucial role in maintaining crew discipline and combat effectiveness. Hypno-indoctrination and regular sermons by ship chaplains reinforce loyalty to the Emperor and the chain of command. This mental conditioning is necessary given the horrors of void warfare and warp travel, helping to stave off panic and mutiny in the face of cosmic terrors. Logistical challenges faced by the Navy are staggering in scale. Maintaining supply lines across thousands of light years requires a vast network of waypoints, refueling stations, and repair docks. The loss of a single key installation can cripple naval operations across entire sectors. Furthermore, the time dilation effects of warp travel mean that fleets must often operate autonomously for extended periods, unable to rely on timely reinforcement or resupply. Warp travel itself presents one of the Navy's greatest challenges and assets. The ability to cross vast interstellar distances in relatively short periods is crucial for maintaining the Imperium's cohesion. However, the unpredictable nature of the warp means that no journey is without risk. Entire fleets have been lost to warp storms or emerged centuries after their departure, complicating strategic planning and resource allocation. Naval intelligence plays a vital yet often overlooked role in fleet operations. Astropathic choirs relay information across vast distances, while savant analysts pore over centuries of astronomical data to predict enemy movements. The cat-and-mouse game of interstellar warfare often hinges on information as much as firepower, with victory going to the fleet that can accurately anticipate its opponent's actions. Ship design philosophy within the Navy tends towards conservatism, with proven patterns favored over innovation. This approach stems partly from necessity. The loss of advanced manufacturing techniques means that radical new designs are often impossible to implement on a large scale. However, it also reflects a cultural aversion to change, with naval tradition holding that the Emperor's chosen designs cannot be improved upon. Combat doctrine emphasizes overwhelming firepower and attrition warfare. While more subtle tactics are employed when necessary, the Navy's default approach is to bring superior numbers and tonnage to bear against the enemy. This strategy is partly born of necessity. Many Xenos races possess technology far in advance of Imperial capabilities, making ship-to-ship parity difficult to achieve. Morale management presents a constant challenge for naval commanders. The isolation of void travel, coupled with the ever-present threat of death by decompression, fire, or warp incursion, can wear down even the most stalwart crews. Rituals, celebrations, and shore leave play crucial roles in maintaining psychological health. In extreme cases, commissars attached to naval units may employ summary executions to quell mutiny or desertion. Political considerations often influence naval deployments and strategies. The protection of key worlds and trade routes takes precedence over purely military objectives. Fleet admirals must navigate a complex web of alliances and rivalries between different Imperial factions, balancing the demands of planetary governors, inquisitors, and the Adeptus Mechanicus. Failure to properly manage these relationships can lead to loss of command or even charges of heresy. Training of naval personnel varies widely across the Imperium. Some worlds maintain prestigious academies that produce highly skilled officers, while others rely on more ad hoc methods of instruction. The vast differences in technology levels between worlds mean that many recruits must undergo extensive training before they can effectively serve aboard advanced vessels. This disparity in education and experience can lead to tensions within crews, particularly on ships that draw personnel from multiple sources. The psychological impact of serving in the Navy cannot be overstated. Exposure to the vastness of space and the horrors of the warp can shatter unprepared minds. Many veterans develop a fatalistic outlook, viewing their service as a constant battle against forces beyond human comprehension. This mindset, while potentially detrimental to individual mental health, often translates into a grim determination in combat situations. Technological innovation within the Navy, while rare, does occur. Collaboration with the Adeptus Mechanicus occasionally yields new weapon systems or defensive technologies. However, the implementation of these advancements is often slow and piecemeal, with many captains reluctant to trust unproven designs in combat situations. This conservative approach helps maintain reliability, but can leave the Navy at a disadvantage when facing more technologically dynamic foes. In the grand tapestry of the Imperium, the Navy stands as both sword and shield, its victories and defeats rippling across thousands of worlds. Its strengths and weaknesses mirror those of humanity itself, capable of incredible feats, yet hamstrung by bureaucracy and superstition. As new threats emerge and old enemies return, the Navy's ability to adapt and overcome will determine the fate of untold billions across the galaxy. In the grim darkness of the far future, the Imperial Navy faces a multitude of adversaries, each presenting unique challenges and requiring specialized tactics to overcome. These conflicts shape the Navy's doctrine, technology, and very identity. Chaos fleets stand as the Navy's most insidious foe. Corrupted warships, once proud Imperial vessels, now twisted by the powers of the warp, pose a dire threat. Their crews, driven mad by demonic possession, fight with a fervor that defies conventional morale. Chaos vessels often possess weaponry that defies the laws of physics, making them unpredictable in battle. Traitor legions led by fallen Primarchs command vast armadas capable of laying waste to entire sectors. Naval engagements against Chaos forces often devolve into boarding actions, where the superior close combat skills of Chaos Space Marines prove devastating. Tyranid hive fleets represent an entirely different kind of menace. Vast beyond comprehension, these biomechanical swarms consume everything in their path. Tyranid vessels, being living organisms, can regenerate damage and adapt to enemy tactics in real time. Their sheer numbers often overwhelm Imperial defenses through attrition. Fighting Tyranids requires the Navy to adopt a scorched earth policy, destroying infested worlds to deny the Xenos biomass. Specialized weapons, such as vortex torpedoes and nova cannons, have been developed specifically to combat these monstrous fleets. Orc space forces, while technologically crude, pose a significant threat through sheer numbers and unpredictability. Orc cruisers and rock ships, cobbled together from salvage and wreckage, defy conventional naval tactics. Their ramshackle nature makes them surprisingly resilient, able to absorb punishment that would cripple more sophisticated vessels. Orc mechs occasionally produce terrifying superweapons that can turn the tide of battle. Naval commanders have learned to target Orc leadership vessels, knowing that without guidance, Orc fleets often fall into disarray. Necron tomb fleets, when awakened, present the Navy with its gravest technological challenge. Necron vessels built from living metal can repair catastrophic damage in moments. Their drives allow for faster-than-light travel without entering the warp, giving them a significant tactical advantage. Weapons like Gauss particle whips can slice through Imperial void shields with ease. Fighting Necrons often becomes a war of attrition, with Imperial admirals hoping to overwhelm the Xenos through sheer numbers before their own forces are whittled away. Tau Empire expansion fleets, while smaller than many Imperial battle groups, boast cutting-edge technology. Their gravitic drives and sophisticated AI targeting systems allow for precision maneuvers impossible for bulkier Imperial ships. Tau tactics emphasize mobility and coordinated strikes, avoiding slugging matches where Imperial tonnage would prevail. Naval engagements against the Tau often become complex games of cat and mouse, with victory hinging on outmaneuvering the enemy rather than outgunning them. Eldar corsairs strike from hidden webway portals, their vessels displaying maneuverability that seems to defy the laws of physics. Holofields make Eldar ships nearly impossible to target at long range, forcing Imperial vessels into close engagements where the Xenos' superior speed proves deadly. Eldar psychic abilities can wreak havoc on Imperial crew morale and sensor systems. Battling Eldar requires patience and cunning, setting traps to pin down their elusive vessels. Dark Eldar raiders present a nightmarish twist on Eldar tactics. Their ships, powered by stolen souls, are even faster and more maneuverable than their craft-world counterparts. Dark Eldar favor hit-and-run attacks, striking vulnerable convoys and isolated outposts. Their true goal is often the capture of slaves rather than outright destruction, leading to hellish boarding actions. Naval commanders facing Dark Eldar must be ever vigilant, knowing that a moment's lapse in void shield coverage can doom entire crews to fates worse than death. Genstealer cults, while primarily a planet-side threat, can severely compromise naval operations. Infiltrated crews may sabotage crucial systems or provide intelligence to incoming hive fleets. Entire ships have been lost to sudden insurrections as dormant cult cells activate. Dealing with this threat requires constant vigilance and cooperation with inquisitorial forces to root out potential infiltrators. Imperial forces themselves can become adversaries during times of civil strife. Planetary governors in rebellion may command significant void assets, turning naval engagements into fratricidal conflicts where both sides use identical tactics and technologies. Renegade Space Marine chapters pose a particularly deadly threat, combining void warfare expertise with transhuman combat abilities. These internal conflicts often prove the most psychologically damaging, forcing loyal naval personnel to fire upon those they once considered brothers in arms. Mechanicus explorator fleets, while nominally allied with the Navy, can become opponents when pursuing their own inscrutable agendas. Conflicts over newly discovered archaeotech or differences in void combat doctrine can lead to tense standoffs or even outright battles. The Mechanicus' superior technology makes them formidable foes, often possessing weapons and defenses beyond standard Imperial capabilities. Inquisitorial ordos occasionally come into conflict with naval forces, particularly when pursuing radical agendas or declaring exterminatus on worlds the Navy is tasked with defending. These conflicts are often political rather than military, but can escalate into armed confrontations. The Inquisition's broad authority and access to esoteric weaponry make them unpredictable opponents, capable of commandeering entire battle groups to serve their purposes. Rogue traders, operating on the fringes of Imperial space, can become adversaries when their actions threaten naval interests. Their unique vessels, often incorporating Xenos technology, present unconventional challenges in void combat. Rogue traders' intimate knowledge of uncharted space and trade routes can make them elusive quarry when pursued by naval patrols. Kroot war spheres, while rare, present a unique threat. These massive spherical vessels serve as both transport and weapon, capable of unleashing swarms of smaller craft and devastating energy discharges. Their alien construction and tactics often confound standard naval engagement protocols. Harud migration fleets, cloaked in temporal distortion fields, pose a insidious danger. Their presence can cause accelerated aging in both crew and material, potentially crippling naval forces without firing a shot. Tracking and engaging Hrud vessels require specialized chronosensors and temporally shielded ammunition. Coral swarm ships emerging from the galactic core represent a growing threat. Their organic vessels, powered by the psionic emissions of their insectoid crews, display hive mind coordination that can outmaneuver even the most skilled Imperial tacticians. Developing countermeasures against this emerging Xenos race has become a priority for naval intelligence. Each of these adversaries forces the Imperial Navy to constantly adapt its strategies, technologies, and training regimens. The diversity of threats faced ensures that no two engagements are ever truly alike, requiring naval commanders to be flexible, resourceful, and ever vigilant. In the unforgiving void of the 41st millennium, the Navy stands as humanity's bulwark against a galaxy teeming with hostile forces, each capable of snuffing out billions of lives in the blink of an eye. At the apex of the 41st millennium, the Imperial Navy faces its greatest challenge yet. The galaxy stands on the brink of annihilation, with threats converging from all sides. This crescendo of conflict pushes the Navy to its absolute limits, testing the mettle of every ship and soul in its service. Cadia's fall marked a turning point in the Imperium's history. As the planet cracked and died, the Navy's failure to hold the Cadian Gate allowed the forces of chaos to pour forth in unprecedented numbers. Warp storms of cataclysmic proportions tore reality asunder, birthing the Great Rift, a galaxy-spanning tear in the fabric of space-time. This catastrophic event bisected the Imperium, leaving countless worlds isolated and vulnerable. In response to this dire situation, the newly resurrected Primarch Robout Guilliman launched the Indomitus Crusade. Naval assets from across the Imperium were marshaled on a scale not seen since the Great Crusade of old. Vast armadas pushed back the tides of chaos, fighting desperate battles to reconnect severed supply lines and reinforce beleaguered worlds. Amid this turmoil, Forge worlds strained to replace the staggering losses suffered by the fleet. Ancient vessels, long held in reserve, were recommissioned and pressed into service. Retired officers were called back to duty, bringing with them centuries of experience. Even as new ships joined the fleet, many bore the scars of hasty construction, a testament to the desperate need for hulls in the void. On the Imperium Nihilus side of the Great Rift, naval operations took on a nightmarish quality. Cut off from the Astronomican's guiding light, navigators struggled to plot safe courses through the warp. Entire battle groups disappeared without trace, while others emerged years off course, their crews driven mad by prolonged exposure to the immaterium. Despite these challenges, the Navy fought on, becoming a lifeline for isolated worlds facing extinction. The plague wars in Ultramar pushed naval Medicae facilities to their breaking point. As Nurgle's rot fleets spread contagion across entire sectors, ship quarantine protocols evolved rapidly. Vessels designated as plague bearers were subject to immediate destruction, even if it meant sacrificing thousands of loyal crew members. The cold logic of containment trumped all other concerns in the face of pan-galactic pandemic. Tyranid hive fleets, sensing the Imperium's momentary weakness, redoubled their efforts to penetrate Imperial space. The Navy found itself fighting wars of attrition on multiple fronts, sacrificing world after world in scorched earth tactics to deny the Xenos their biomass. New ship designs incorporating enhanced flak arrays and titanium-laced hull plating were rushed into production to counter the Tyranids' biological weapons. Necron dynasty fleets, stirred to wakefulness by the galaxy's upheaval, emerged in ever-increasing numbers. The Navy's engagement protocols underwent rapid revision as reports flooded in of entire battle groups being neutralized by sickly green beams that bypassed void shields entirely. Inquisitorial agents worked feverishly alongside Mechanicus tech priests to reverse engineer captured Necron technology, hoping to level the playing field. Orc wahs of unprecedented scale erupted across multiple sectors. The greenskins, drawn to the scent of galactic conflict, mobbed together in system-spanning armadas. Naval commanders found themselves outgunned and outnumbered, relying increasingly on guerrilla tactics to whittle down the Orc forces. Boarding actions became commonplace, with armsmen and Adeptus Astartes strike teams fighting running battles through the bowels of Orc cruisers. The Tau Empire, seizing opportunity in the chaos, launched its Fifth Sphere expansion. Highly mobile Tau fleets probed Imperial defenses, exploiting gaps left by overstretched Navy patrols. Engagements with the Xenos often devolved into complex games of cat and mouse, with victory hinging on split-second decisions and predictive logic engines pushed to their limits. Amidst these external threats, internal strife threatened to tear the Navy apart from within. As resources grew scarce, rivalry between fleet commands intensified. Accusations of hoarding supplies and abandoning allies became commonplace. The Inquisition worked overtime to root out potential heretics and traitors, their investigations adding another layer of tension to already strained command structures. To combat these myriad threats, the Navy was forced to innovate at a pace not seen for millennia. Collaboration with the Adeptus Mechanicus yielded new weapon systems, graviton implosion missiles capable of collapsing light cruisers with a single hit, and etheric disruptors that could disable Necron phase drives. These technological marvels came at a cost, with many ships serving as testbeds for unstable prototype systems. The very nature of naval warfare evolved in this crucible of conflict. Traditional fleet formations gave way to more fluid, adaptable battle groups. Smaller, faster ships took on greater importance, able to respond quickly to threats across multiple fronts. Capital ships became mobile fortresses, serving as anchors for rapid response flotillas that could detach and reattach as needed. Recruitment standards, once rigidly upheld, became increasingly flexible out of necessity. Void-born children were fast-tracked into service, their innate understanding of ship operations offsetting their lack of formal training. Penal legions were formed from pressed criminals and mutineers, given one last chance at redemption through service in high-risk boarding actions. Warp travel, always perilous, became outright suicidal in many regions. Navigators commanding exorbitant fees for their services, with many refusing assignments outright. This led to increased reliance on short-hop strategies, with fleets making numerous brief warp jumps rather than risking longer journeys. The additional time required for this cautious approach often meant arriving too late to save embattled worlds, a bitter reality that haunted many a captain's dreams. In this maelstrom of unceasing warfare, unlikely alliances formed out of desperate necessity. Eldar Corsairs found themselves fighting alongside Imperial battle groups against Tyrannid hive fleets. Rogue traders, their knowledge of uncharted space suddenly invaluable, were granted unprecedented autonomy in frontier regions. Even some Orc freebooters were grudgingly tolerated, their ramshackle fleets serving as buffers against greater threats. As the culmination of these conflicts approached, the fate of the Imperium hung in the balance. The Navy, stretched beyond its limits, fought with the determination of those who know defeat means extinction. Every engagement became a potential turning point, every ship a bastion against the encroaching darkness. In the cold void of space, countless unsung heroes gave their lives, their sacrifices ensuring that humanity's light would not be extinguished. In this crucible of war, the Navy was forged anew. Gone was the lumbering bureaucracy of old, replaced by a lean, adaptable fighting force. Victory, if it could be achieved, would come at a terrible cost. But in the grim darkness of the far future, where there is only war, the Imperial Navy stands ready to face whatever horrors the galaxy may unleash. In the wake of the galaxy-spanning conflicts that pushed the Imperial Navy to its limits, the aftermath reshaped the very fabric of void warfare. Victories and defeats alike left indelible marks on the Imperium's stellar forces, forging a leaner, more adaptable fleet from the crucible of near-total war. Territorial shifts redrew the map of Imperial space. Countless worlds were lost, some consumed by Tyrannid hive fleets, others falling to the corrupting influence of chaos. Yet for every system lost, others were reclaimed or discovered, expanding the Imperium's borders in unexpected directions. These changes necessitated a complete overhaul of patrol routes and supply lines, with the Navy adapting its strategies to defend a vastly altered realm. Technological leaps, born of desperate innovation and collaboration with the Adeptus Mechanicus, revolutionized ship design. Hybrid plasma warp drives, reverse-engineered from recovered Xenos tech, allowed for faster sublight travel and more stable warp jumps. Adaptive void shields capable of reconfiguring their energy matrices to counter specific weapon types provided unprecedented protection against diverse threats. Crew composition underwent significant changes. The staggering casualties suffered during the conflicts led to a new generation of officers rising rapidly through the ranks. These young commanders, tempered by constant warfare, brought fresh perspectives to naval doctrine. Increased recruitment from frontier worlds introduced diverse skill sets, with void-born specialists and feral world survivalists finding new roles within the fleet. Strategic doctrine evolved to meet the challenges of a divided Imperium. Fleet compositions became more fluid, with task forces assembled and disassembled as needed to respond to ever-changing threats. The concept of fortress fleets emerged, with massive star forts serving as mobile bases for rapid response squadrons. These behemoths, part ship and part station, allowed the Navy to project power across vast distances without relying on fixed installations. Psychic warfare took on new prominence within naval operations. The scarcity of navigators in the wake of the conflicts led to increased reliance on astropathic choirs for both communication and warp navigation. Sanctioned psychers, once viewed with suspicion, became integral parts of ship crews, their abilities proving crucial in detecting chaos incursions and countering enemy psychic assaults. Diplomacy, long a secondary concern for the Navy, gained newfound importance. Alliances of convenience forged during the darkest hours of conflict evolved into more permanent arrangements. Treaties with rogue traders formalized their role as scouts and proxies in regions beyond the Imperium's direct control. Even cautious pacts with certain Eldar Corsair fleets were struck, exchanging navigational data for mutual defense against common enemies. Logistical networks underwent complete restructuring. The loss of key forge worlds and the severance of traditional supply lines forced the development of localized production capabilities. Fleet tenders, massive mobile factories, were commissioned to provide on-the-spot repairs and ammunition manufacturing. This decentralization of resources increased the Navy's resilience, allowing battle groups to operate independently for extended periods. Training protocols saw significant revision. Virtual reality simulators, incorporating data from recent conflicts, allowed for hyper-realistic combat training. The horrors of void warfare were no longer abstract concepts for new recruits, but visceral experiences imprinted on their psyches before they ever set foot on a real ship. This psychological conditioning produced crews better prepared for the mind-bending realities of warp travel and Xenos encounters. Intra-service cooperation reached unprecedented levels. Joint operations between the Navy and the Adeptus Astartes became commonplace, with specialized docking collars and assault boats facilitating rapid deployment of Space Marine strike forces. Closer ties with the Inquisition led to the creation of dedicated Ordo Xenos attaches within fleet commands, providing crucial intelligence on alien threats. Morale management evolved beyond traditional methods. Chaplains and commissars found themselves working alongside ship psychiatrists, combining spiritual guidance with practical mental health support. Recognition of the psychological toll of constant warfare led to the implementation of mandatory rest rotations and the establishment of void-based recreation facilities. Ship design philosophy shifted towards versatility. Multi-role vessels capable of rapidly reconfiguring for different mission profiles became the norm. Modular weapon systems allowed for quick adaptation to specific threats, while expanded hangar bays supported larger complements of attack craft. This flexibility came at the cost of raw firepower, but the tactical advantages proved invaluable in the ever-changing theater of void combat. Naval intelligence underwent a paradigm shift. The unreliability of long-range communication necessitated a more proactive approach to information gathering. Dedicated scout flotillas, equipped with advanced sensor suites and stealth systems, became the eyes and ears of the fleet. Predictive logic engines fed with vast amounts of tactical data allowed admirals to anticipate enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. Recruitment practices expanded to tap previously overlooked resources. Feral worlds, once valued only for their hardy infantry, began producing void-savvy crew members thanks to Navy-sponsored uplift programs. Hive world gangers, their street-honed survival instincts translating well to the brutal realities of ship-to-ship combat, swelled the ranks of naval armsmen. Spiritual shifts rippled through the Navy's culture. The horrors witnessed during the conflicts led many to embrace a fatalistic brand of imperial faith. Others found solace in esoteric interpretations of the Emperor's teachings, leading to the rise of numerous subcults within the fleet. Naval commissars worked overtime to ensure these spiritual explorations didn't veer into heresy, walking a fine line between maintaining morale and doctrinal purity. Xenotech integration, once taboo, became a controversial necessity. Captured Necron phase drives, carefully sanctified and installed in select cruisers, provided unparalleled tactical mobility. Tau deflector shield emitters, reverse-engineered and mass-produced, offered improved protection against certain weapon types. Each such advancement came at the cost of heated debate and occasional tech heresy trials, but the operational advantages could not be ignored. Warp travel techniques saw radical revision. The instability of traditional warp routes led to the development of skimming strategies, where ships would make a series of short, controlled warp jumps rather than risking longer immersions. This method, while slower, proved far safer and allowed for more precise navigation in turbulent regions. In the aftermath of these changes, the Imperial Navy emerged as a force transformed. No longer the ponderous, tradition-bound institution of old, it had become a dynamic, adaptable arm of the Emperor's will. The costs had been staggering, with entire battle fleets lost and countless lives sacrificed. Yet from this crucible of conflict arose a navy better equipped to face the unrelenting hostility of the 41st millennium. As new threats loom on the horizon and old foes gather strength, the Navy stands vigilant. Its ships plow the void between stars, bearing the hopes and fears of 1 trillion souls. In the darkness of space, the Emperor's light burns bright, carried forth by men and women tempered by adversity and driven by unyielding faith. The Navy sails on, guardians of humanity's future in a galaxy poised on the brink of oblivion. The Imperial Navy's evolution sent ripples across the Imperium, profoundly affecting various factions, events, and individuals. Its transformed role in the galaxy reshaped strategies, alliances, and the very fabric of interstellar warfare. Planetary governors found their relationships with the Navy drastically altered. Worlds once assured of protection now faced the harsh reality of triage defense strategies. Some governors, recognizing the new paradigm, invested heavily in planetary defense forces and orbit-to-surface weaponry. Others turned to less savory means of ensuring their safety, striking deals with rogue traders or even Xenos factions to fill the void left by decreased naval presence. The Adeptus Mechanicus experienced a surge in demand for their expertise. Forge worlds hummed with increased production, churning out new ship designs and experimental weaponry. This elevated status came with heightened expectations, leading to internal conflicts as different tech priest factions argued over resource allocation and research priorities. The Mechanicus's rekindled interest in xenotech recovery missions strained relations with more Puritan elements of the Inquisition. Within the Astra Militarum, the Navy's changing tactics necessitated a complete overhaul of deployment strategies. Regiments found themselves training for extended shipboard operations, with void combat drills becoming as common as planetary assault exercises. The increased coordination between Navy and Guard forces led to the rise of specialized void-borne regiments, troops specifically trained for ship-to-ship boarding actions and space station defense. The Adeptus Astartes saw their role in void warfare expand significantly. Many Space Marine chapters intensified their focus on fleet operations, with some going so far as to requisition and crew Imperial Navy vessels. This blurring of traditional roles caused tension in some sectors, but the tactical advantages of Astartes-led naval strike forces proved too valuable to ignore. Several chapters developed new specializations in void combat, their enhanced physiology and tactical acumen making them invaluable assets in ship-to-ship engagements. Inquisitorial operations were profoundly impacted by the Navy's transformation. The Ordo Xenos found itself working more closely with naval intelligence, pooling resources to track and counter alien threats. Ordo Hereticus agents intensified their scrutiny of naval personnel, wary of the psychological effects of prolonged void warfare and exposure to xenotech. The Ordo Malleus, ever vigilant against chaotic incursion, established permanent detachments aboard key naval vessels ready to counter any warp-borne threats that might manifest during transit. The ecclesiarchy seized upon the Navy's trials as proof of the Emperor's divine will. Naval victories were heralded as miracles, with ship captains and admirals elevated to near sainthood in popular cult worship. This religious fervor, while boosting morale, sometimes led to conflicts with the more pragmatic elements of naval command. Some newly formed sects within the Navy began to challenge orthodox imperial doctrine, forcing the ecclesiarchy to adapt its teachings to the unique spiritual needs of voidfarers. Rogue traders found their services in higher demand than ever before. Their knowledge of uncharted space and experience in dealing with Xenos races made them invaluable assets to naval expeditions. Many rogue traders leveraged this new importance to negotiate more favorable terms with imperial authorities, expanding their operations and influence. Some even managed to secure naval escorts for their merchant fleets, blurring the lines between commercial and military operations in frontier space. The Navy's nobility, already a powerful faction, saw its influence grow exponentially. The scarcity of skilled navigators in the wake of the conflicts led to intense bidding wars between fleet commands. Some navigator houses used this leverage to secure unprecedented concessions, including command positions within the Navy itself. This shift in power dynamics caused unease among traditional naval aristocracy, leading to political maneuvering and occasional outright conflict. Frontier worlds experienced a surge in development as the Navy established new forward bases and supply depots. Sleepy outposts transformed into bustling port cities overnight, their economies revolving around servicing naval vessels and crews. This rapid growth brought opportunities but also challenges, as some worlds struggled to cope with the influx of Imperial personnel and the attendant social changes. Xenos races across the galaxy were forced to reassess their strategies in light of the Navy's evolution. Eldar corsairs found their hit-and-run tactics less effective against more mobile Imperial fleets, leading some to seek limited alliances of convenience. Orc freebooters faced stiffer resistance in their raiding operations, driving them to band together in larger, more organized WAGs. The Tau Empire accelerated development of its own void combat capabilities, recognizing the need to match the Imperium's enhanced naval prowess. Within the Adeptus Terra, the Navy's changing role sparked intense debate and political maneuvering. Some factions pushed for greater autonomy for fleet commands, arguing that centralized control was too slow to respond to rapidly evolving threats. Others advocated for even stricter oversight, fearing that a more independent Navy could pose a threat to Terra's authority. These debates often spilled over into other branches of Imperial governance, influencing everything from tithe calculations to administrative staffing decisions. The Officio Assassinorum found itself adapting to new paradigms of naval warfare. Culexis assassins, with their anti-psyker capabilities, became highly sought after for operations against Chaos fleets. Eversor assassins saw increased deployment in boarding actions, their berserker fury proving devastatingly effective in the confined spaces of enemy ships. The Officio's need for discreet transportation led to the development of new classes of stealth ships, vessels capable of slipping undetected through even the most heavily contested war zones. Scholars within the administratum scrambled to document and analyze the Navy's transformation. New departments sprang up dedicated to studying the long-term implications of changed naval doctrine. The sheer volume of data generated by these studies threatened to overwhelm even the administratum's vast bureaucracy, leading to calls for the implementation of more advanced cogitator systems to handle the information load. In the criminal underworld, void piracy evolved in response to enhanced naval patrols. Some pirate fleets invested in advanced stealth technology, focusing on high-value, low-profile targets. Others went in the opposite direction, cobbling together massive junk fleets capable of overwhelming smaller naval task forces through sheer numbers. The more ambitious pirate lords began styling themselves as alternative power brokers in poorly defended sectors, offering protection to vulnerable worlds in exchange for resources and loyalty. Even the Adeptus Custodes, guardians of the Emperor on Terra, felt the ripples of the Navy's transformation. Recognizing the increased void-born threats to the throne world, the Custodes expanded their training to include advanced ship-to-ship combat techniques. Some custodian detachments began taking a more active role in naval operations near the Sol system, their golden warships becoming objects of awe and inspiration for regular Navy crews. The Titan legions of the Collegia Titanica faced new logistical challenges as naval transport capabilities evolved. Specialized landers and orbital insertion methods were developed to deploy Titans more rapidly and with greater precision. Some Titan crews underwent additional training in void combat protocols, preparing them for the possibility of engaging enemies while still aboard their transport ships. Throughout the Imperium and beyond, the Navy's impact resonated in countless ways. From the highest spires of hive worlds to the most remote frontier outposts, the changes in naval operations shaped the destinies of billions. As the galaxy continued its relentless march towards war and chaos, the transformed Imperial Navy stood as both a bulwark against annihilation and a harbinger of humanity's tenacity in the face of unimaginable adversity. The Imperial Navy, in its vastness and complexity, embodies numerous symbolic elements and thematic undercurrents that resonate throughout the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These deeper layers of meaning elevate the Navy beyond mere military force, transforming it into a potent metaphor for humanity's struggle in a hostile cosmos. Mankind's defiance against cosmic horror finds powerful expression in the Navy's ceaseless vigil. Each vessel, from humble escort to mighty battleship, represents humanity's refusal to succumb to the darkness between stars. The image of a lone Imperial cruiser, dwarfed by the void yet steadfast in its duty, encapsulates the theme of heroic futility that permeates the setting. This David versus Goliath narrative plays out countless times across the galaxy, with naval crews facing threats vastly beyond their comprehension or capability. Technological regression, a core concept in 40k lore, manifests starkly within naval operations. Ancient vessels, their workings barely understood by their crews, serve as poignant symbols of humanity's fallen state. The loss of knowledge turns routine maintenance into religious ritual, with tech priests intoning litanies to appease machine spirits. This blending of technology and superstition underscores the Imperium's precarious reliance on relics of a more enlightened past. The warp, with its mind-bending horrors and temporal distortions, serves as a potent metaphor for the unknown. Naval vessels plunging into the immaterium embody humanity's brave yet foolhardy attempts to master forces beyond its ken. The Geller Field, a thin bubble of reality protecting ships from chaotic incursion, symbolizes the fragile nature of sanity in a universe gone mad. Each successful warp jump becomes a triumph of human will over eldritch impossibility. Sacrifice permeates every aspect of naval service, reflecting the broader Imperial creed of martyrdom for the greater good. From press-ganged ratings to high-born officers, every crew member knows their life may be forfeit at any moment. This willingness to die, not just in battle but in the mundane accidents of void travel, speaks to the theme of individual insignificance in the face of galactic events. Yet paradoxically, it also highlights the supreme value placed on human life by a regime that will expend millions to defend a single world. The sheer scale of naval operations serves as a constant reminder of the Imperium's vast, unwieldy nature. Fleets numbering hundreds of ships, carrying millions of souls, mirror the bureaucratic complexity of imperial governance. The years-long mustering of a crusade fleet becomes a microcosm of the Imperium's sluggish yet inexorable might. This duality of scale, the individual human lost in a sea of billions, yet each person vital to the whole, encapsulates the contradictions at the heart of the Imperium. Duty and loyalty, cornerstone virtues of the Imperium, find their ultimate expression in naval tradition. The willingness of captains to execute exterminatus orders, dooming entire worlds to safeguard the broader Imperium, highlights the cruel calculus of survival in the 41st millennium. This unflinching adherence to duty, even in the face of morally abhorrent acts, forces readers to grapple with questions of ethics in extremis. The constant threat of mutation and chaotic corruption within naval ranks serves as a metaphor for the fragility of the human form and psyche. Rigorous purification protocols and the ever-present watch of commissars symbolize humanity's desperate attempt to maintain its identity in a universe intent on reshaping it. The horror of a crew member succumbing to warp-touched madness reflects deeper anxieties about loss of self and community. Naval hierarchy, with its rigid stratification and Byzantine chains of command, mirrors the broader social structures of the Imperium. The vast gulf between a lowly rating and a high admiral serves as a microcosm of imperial society, where accident of birth often determines one's fate. Yet the naval meritocracy, where skill and experience can elevate an individual, offers a glimmer of hope in an otherwise oppressively stratified system. The concept of transhuman dread, often associated with space marines, finds subtler expression in naval void combat. The sheer scale of battleships, combined with weaponry capable of cracking planets, instills a sense of awe and terror that transcends normal human experience. This brush with the sublime serves as a reminder of humanity's potential for greatness, even as it underscores the insignificance of individual lives. Psychological horror, a staple of 40k lore, permeates naval service. The isolation of void travel, coupled with the mind-bending nature of warp exposure, creates a pressure cooker environment for the human psyche. Tales of haunted ships and crews driven to madness by isolation reflect broader themes of psychological fragility in the face of cosmic indifference. The Navy's role in maintaining imperial supply lines becomes a powerful metaphor for the interconnectedness of human endeavor. Each convoy escorted and warp routes secured represents not just military strategy, but the lifeblood of an interstellar civilization. The fragility of these connections underscores the precarious nature of human existence in a hostile galaxy. Themes of decay and rebirth play out constantly within the Navy's ranks. Ancient vessels, patched and repaired countless times, symbolize the Imperium's tenacity in the face of entropy. The commissioning of new ships, often built to millennia-old patterns, represents the cyclical nature of imperial civilization, always looking to the past to secure its future. The Navy's frequent encounters with xeno-species force constant re-examination of humanity's place in the cosmos. Each alien fleet serves as a dark mirror, reflecting alternative paths of evolution and civilization. The horror of the truly alien challenges human-centric worldviews, even as it reinforces the Imperium's xenophobic stance. Artifacts of lost ages, from Dark Age technologies to weapons of incomprehensible power, feature prominently in naval mythology. These relics serve as tangible links to humanity's glorious past, their mysteries driving home the theme of lost knowledge. The quest to understand and replicate these wonders becomes a metaphor for the Imperium's broader struggle to reclaim its birthright among the stars. Time dilation effects and the vagaries of warp travel imbue naval operations with an almost mythic quality. Fleets returning decades after their departure or arriving before they left highlight the fluid nature of time in the 41st millennium. This temporal uncertainty serves as a broader metaphor for the Imperium's stagnation, trapped between a glorified past and an ever-darkening future. In every engagement, every patrol, the Imperial Navy embodies the themes that define Warhammer 40,000. It stands as a symbol of humanity's resilience, its ships beacons of hope in an ocean of darkness. Yet it also represents the oppressive nature of the Imperium, where individual lives are expended without hesitation for the greater good. This duality, this constant tension between noble purpose and grim necessity, captures the essence of a universe where there is only war and the laughter of thirsting gods. Delving into the lore of the Imperial Navy reveals a fascinating microcosm of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Its contradictions and complexities offer a rich tapestry for analysis and reflection. At first glance, the sheer scale of naval operations boggles the mind. Fleets comprising thousands of vessels, each a city in space, paint a picture of humanity's triumph over the hostile void. Yet, this grandeur comes at a terrible cost. The oppressive regimes necessary to maintain such vast armadas speak to the grim reality of the Imperium's existence. One cannot help but admire the tenacity of naval personnel. Ordinary humans facing threats that could shatter sanity showcase the best of humanity's qualities. Their courage in the face of cosmic horror serves as a testament to the human spirit's resilience. However, this bravery often stems from a place of ignorance or fanaticism, raising questions about the nature of true heroism in a universe of moral ambiguity. The technological stagnation evident in naval operations presents a poignant commentary on the Imperium's wider issues. Ancient vessels, their workings barely understood, symbolize a civilization clinging to the remnants of its former glory. This regression transforms naval service into a quasi-religious experience where ritual and superstition replace true understanding. While this adds a layer of mystique to the lore, it also serves as a stark warning about the dangers of losing scientific knowledge. Naval hierarchy offers a microcosm of imperial society, reflecting its strengths and flaws. The rigid command structure ensures efficiency in the face of unimaginable challenges. Yet it also perpetuates a system of inequality and oppression. The contrast between the lives of highborn officers and press-ganged ratings highlights the Imperium's brutal utilitarianism, where individual suffering is deemed acceptable for the greater good. The psychological toll of naval service cannot be overstated. Crews face not only the constant threat of violent death, but also the mind-bending horrors of warp travel. This aspect of the lore provides some of the most compelling narratives, exploring themes of isolation, madness, and the fragility of the human psyche. It raises intriguing questions about the limits of human adaptability and the cost of interstellar travel. Encounters with xeno-species through naval engagements offer a unique lens through which to view the Imperium's xenophobia. The constant threat posed by alien civilizations lends credence to the Imperium's harsh stance. However, it also showcases missed opportunities for alliances and mutual understanding. This tension between necessity and moral imperative creates a rich ground for storytelling and philosophical debate. The role of faith within the Navy provides fascinating insights into the Imperium's religious culture. The blending of military discipline with religious fervor creates a unique atmosphere where every action carries spiritual weight. While this faith undoubtedly provides comfort and purpose to countless souls, it also serves as a tool of control and a barrier to progress. Naval tactics and strategies offer an interesting study in adaptation and stagnation. The need to face ever-evolving threats drives innovation, yet this progress is hampered by dogma and technological limitations. This struggle between necessity and tradition mirrors larger conflicts within the Imperium, making naval warfare a perfect microcosm of the setting's central themes. The concept of sacrifice permeates every aspect of naval lore. From servitors wired into ship systems to entire crews lost to the warp, the Navy embodies the Imperium's willingness to expend human lives. This grim calculus of survival raises uncomfortable questions about the value of individual life in the face of species-wide threats. Inquisitorial presence within the Navy adds layers of intrigue and paranoia to an already tense environment. The constant threat of heresy and corruption creates a pressure cooker atmosphere where trust is a rare commodity. This aspect of naval life provides rich ground for exploring themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the corrupting influence of power. The Navy's role in maintaining Imperial supply lines highlights the fragile nature of the Imperium's dominion. Each convoy protected and warp route secured represents a small victory against the encroaching darkness. This mundane yet vital aspect of naval operations adds depth to the setting, reminding us that even in a galaxy of demigods and demons, basic logistics remain crucial. Interactions between the Navy and other Imperial institutions offer insights into the complex web of power that holds the Imperium together. The delicate balance between naval autonomy and central control from Terra creates interesting dynamics, ripe for political intrigue and power plays. The influence of chaos on naval operations provides some of the most chilling aspects of the lore. The constant threat of demonic incursion transforms routine warp jumps into harrowing ordeals. This ever-present danger serves as a powerful metaphor for the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of human civilization. Technological artifacts encountered during naval expeditions offer tantalizing glimpses of humanity's lost golden age. These remnants of a more advanced past create a sense of melancholy, highlighting the Imperium's stagnation and decline. The quest to understand and replicate these wonders drives home the tragedy of a civilization that has forgotten more than it knows. The concept of time dilation in naval operations adds an intriguing science fiction element to the lore. Fleets returning decades after their departure or arriving before they left create mind-bending scenarios, perfect for exploring themes of loss, duty, and the fluid nature of reality in the 41st millennium. In my view, the Imperial Navy serves as a perfect encapsulation of Warhammer 40,000's central themes. It represents humanity's indomitable will to survive, showcasing incredible feats of courage and sacrifice. Simultaneously, it embodies the oppressive, stagnant nature of the Imperium, where progress is stifled by dogma and fear. This duality creates a rich, complex backdrop for storytelling, allowing for tales of both heroism and horror. The naval perspective offers a unique vantage point on the wider 40k universe. Through the eyes of naval personnel, we witness the grand sweep of galactic events, from crusades that span sectors to apocalyptic battles that decide the fate of worlds. Yet we also see the individual human cost, the countless lives expended in mankind's endless war for survival. Ultimately, the Imperial Navy stands as a testament to human perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. Its ships are islands of light in a sea of darkness, beacons of hope in a galaxy teetering on the brink of annihilation. In its triumphs and tragedies, the Navy captures the essence of Warhammer 40,000, a setting where there is only war, but where the human spirit refuses to be extinguished. As our journey through the vast expanse of the Imperial Navy draws to a close, we find ourselves gazing upon a tapestry of unparalleled complexity and grandeur. This behemoth of steel and faith stands as a testament to humanity's indomitable will, a bulwark against the encroaching darkness that threatens to engulf the galaxy. From humble beginnings in mankind's first tentative steps beyond Terra, the Navy has evolved into an organization of staggering proportions. Its fleets, numbering in the millions of vessels, ply the void between stars, carrying the Emperor's light to the farthest reaches of known space and beyond. Each ship, from the lowliest transport to the mightiest battleship, plays a crucial role in maintaining the Imperium's tenuous grip on its far-flung domains. The sheer scale of naval operations defies comprehension. Battles involving thousands of ships rage across entire systems, their outcomes shaping the destinies of billions. Crusade fleets, mustered over decades, strike out into the unknown, braving the perils of uncharted space to reclaim humanity's lost colonies. Supply convoys stretching across light years form the arteries of the Imperium, their precious cargo sustaining countless worlds. Yet for all its might, the Navy faces challenges that would break lesser organizations. The ever-present threat of chaos lurks in the warp, turning routine transit into a harrowing ordeal. Xenos empires press at the Imperium's borders, their alien technologies often outstripping humanity's regressed capabilities. Internal strife, from petty politicking to full-blown rebellion, constantly threatens to undermine the Navy's effectiveness. In the face of these myriad threats, the men and women of the Imperial Navy stand resolute. From seasoned admirals directing fleet movements to lowly ratings scrubbing plasma conduits, each plays their part in humanity's eternal struggle for survival. Their sacrifices, often unsung, ensure the continuation of the Imperium and all it represents. The Navy's influence extends far beyond mere military matters. Its presence shapes cultures, drives economies, and defines the very nature of human existence in the 41st millennium. Worlds prosper or wither at the Navy's whim, their fates tied to the ebb and flow of void-born commerce and conflict. The arrival of a naval squadron can mean salvation for a beleaguered planet or spell doom for those who have strayed from the Emperor's light. Technological stagnation, a hallmark of the Imperium, finds stark expression in naval operations. Ancient vessels, their inner workings barely understood, are maintained through a mixture of ritual and blind luck. Yet, this very regression serves as a source of strength, imbuing each ship with a sense of history and purpose that transcends mere mechanics. In the Navy, technology and faith become one, each supporting the other in humanity's war against the darkness. The psychological toll of naval service cannot be overstated. Crew members face not only the constant threat of violent death, but also horrors that defy sanity. The warp's malign influence, the mind-bending scale of void combat, and the crushing isolation of deep space missions test the limits of human endurance. That so many persevere is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of unwavering faith. Cultural diversity flourishes within the Navy's ranks, despite the Imperium's oppressive uniformity. Void-born dynasties, their lineages stretching back millennia, serve alongside fresh-faced recruits from feral worlds. Each brings their own traditions, superstitions, and skills to the melting pot of naval service. This diversity, carefully channeled and controlled, becomes a source of strength, allowing the Navy to adapt to any challenge. The Navy's role in maintaining Imperial unity cannot be overstated. In a realm where travel between worlds can take years or even decades, naval vessels serve as the threads binding the Imperium together. They carry not just material goods, but also information, cultural exchange, and the very authority of Terra itself. Without the Navy's ceaseless efforts, the Imperium would quickly fragment into isolated pockets, easy prey for the myriad predators circling humanity's domain. Strategic flexibility defines naval doctrine in the face of ever-evolving threats. From system-wide engagements involving hundreds of capital ships to precision strikes by lone wolf raiders, the Navy must be prepared for any eventuality. This adaptability, honed over millennia of conflict, ensures that humanity always has an answer to the galaxy's myriad threats. The future of the Imperial Navy, like that of the Imperium itself, hangs in the balance. New threats emerge even as old foes gather strength. The Tyranid hive fleets press ever closer to Terra, their bioships defying conventional naval tactics. Necron tomb worlds awaken after eons of slumber, their technologies so advanced as to seem like sorcery. The forces of chaos, emboldened by recent victories, launch ever more daring raids into Imperial space. Yet, in the face of these challenges, the Navy endures. It adapts, evolves, and overcomes, drawing strength from the very adversity that threatens to overwhelm it. New ship designs, forged in the crucible of recent conflicts, take their place alongside venerable vessels that have served for millennia. Novel tactics and strategies emerge, blending the wisdom of ancient naval treatises with hard-won experience from 100 battlefields. As we step back and survey the full scope of the Imperial Navy's impact on the Warhammer 40,000 universe, we are left in awe of its complexity and significance. It is more than just a military force. It is the lifeblood of the Imperium, the physical manifestation of humanity's will to survive in a hostile cosmos. In its triumphs and tragedies, its moments of breathtaking heroism and crushing defeat, the Navy encapsulates the essence of the 41st millennium. For in the grim darkness of the far future, where there is only war, the ships of the Imperial Navy sail on. They are humanity's shield against the terror of the void, its sword against Xenos aggression, and its lifeline to distant stars. As long as a single Imperial vessel plies the warp, as long as a solitary captain stands defiant on their bridge, humanity's light will not be extinguished. The story of the Imperial Navy is the story of mankind's struggle against an uncaring universe. It is a tale of sacrifice, duty, and unyielding faith in the face of overwhelming odds. As we conclude our exploration of this vast and complex organization, we are reminded that in the world of Warhammer 40,000, there are no easy victories, no simple solutions. There is only the eternal vigilance of those who stand watch in the darkness, their eyes fixed on distant stars, ever ready to answer humanity's call. And so, as the Gothic bells toll ship's midnight and the plasma drives flare to life, we leave the Imperial Navy to its eternal duty. In the void between stars, in the fury of battle, and in the quiet moments of reflection in ships' chapels across the galaxy, the saga of the Imperial Navy continues. It is a story without end, a legend written in starlight and sacrifice, echoing across the vastness of space for 10,000 years and beyond.